Hey guys, Bernard Chambeau with my co-host Dominic Szabo, welcoming you back to Real Push Podcast, where we are always delighted to bring you fascinating stories from industry experts, successful entrepreneurs, local sports celebrities, and really all things inspiring and value add. And Dom, I am pumped for today's guest, man.
Yeah, of course.
This gentleman needs no introduction, but I'm going to go ahead and hit you with the stats. He spent 8 years with Mojo in the morning and 95.5. Fair to say he exploded on the scene. Spent a lot of time touring the countries, hosting concerts, emceeing some of the biggest events, interviewing some of the top Billboard artists. In 2020, co-founded Woodward Sports Network, entrepreneur, businessman. Print House Detroit's coming. We'll talk about that. You all know him. His legal name is Joey Namu. You all know him as Joey Radio. Joey, so good to have you on the podcast,
Welcome
brother.
on, man.
That might be the best intro I ever got in my life.
It's
Well,
awesome.
well, I could have said a lot more, man. And we're so thrilled to have you. We're excited to share your story. Thanks for making time with us today. And when Dominic and I were talking about people we want on the show, your name absolutely came to mind. Thanks for being here, brother.
Yeah, you know, this is the trial period for the podcast, getting up and running.
Well-
So that's when you bring me in. I like it.
Listen, got a lot of things to uncover. Want to kind of get to know you a little bit. Want to talk about your family. But I think in interviewing you, I want to take it back to where it all started. And that's the story that's probably been told a few times, but I would love for you to share it
I
again.
want to hear it on the show.
And legend has it, you're driving, you're going to OU, Oakland University graduate. You're heading to take a exam.
Yep. Midterm exam, too, not just
Midterm
the
exam.
regular one.
You're listening to 95.5. You're a fan of the radio station, and I think you used to call in just to get tickets. Mojo is on the air, fires an intern on the air, has people call in. I'll let you tell the rest.
It was funny because I'll never forget the moment. I mean, I'm going to a midterm. It's my freshman year, and, you know, being Chaldean, parents that are more old school, traditional, it wasn't an easy thing to just call into the radio. I never once got on the air before that to win tickets. But this obviously won me a career, so it's a little bit better than some tickets.
Yeah, school and work's what our parents think about mainly.
Right. I got two brothers that are dentists.
Oh, there you go.
Another brother that's an entrepreneur. So for me, it was like, all right, you can't just miss a midterm. But I call up, and Mojo was pissed. Gets rid of this intern on the air. And it was funny because he didn't even really remember it because obviously he's done so many things through his amazing career. And then all of a sudden, this happens, and I get through, and I'm talking. And even the producer at the time, she was out on maternity leave. So they had
Wow.
an interim producer there.
Wow.
This girl had no clue what was going on. So I'm talking to her, and I'm like, hey, she's freaking out. Like, oh, yeah, just one second. I'm like, no, what do you mean 1 second? Let's meet in person. And she was like, okay, when could you come? And I was like, I'll come right now. And then she's like, all right, gives me the address. I'm emailing while driving. I do not promote that or condone that behavior at all.
Neither do
But
we.
just doing it, and then all of a sudden I email my teacher saying, hey, I can't make this. I had a big opportunity. Please, can I just get a makeup exam? Whatever. Go into the studio, interview. All goes well. They invite me to come back the next day. Right as I get in the car, I get an email back. I check my phone. There will be no makeup
Makeups.
exam.
Wow.
Straight
So to
zero
cut through,
on it.
did you end up failing that class?
I ended up failing that class.
Okay.
Yeah. The funny part is it was a BS music class anyways.
Selective?
Yes. So
Okay,
my whole
gotcha.
career goes into music, and I end up failing the only class in my career, music class.
Yeah, but worth pointing out, Golden Grizzly graduate 2015?
2015,
Yikes.
yeah.
2015.
Yeah, you threw me off. I was like, wait,
2015.
that's a long time ago.
That's a long time
Yeah,
ago.
now
That's a
we
long
start
time
looking at
ago.
it.
That's a long time ago.
Switched my career into being in marketing.
Hey, fair to say that was a life-changing moment for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I never even dreamed about being in that industry.
Yeah.
Nothing in my past. I was going to be a CPA, actually, as a matter of fact.
Right, that's what I was watching. Is that you were going to be a CPA? Was that part of it's like a family thing? Or
Yeah, so I have an uncle. His name's Akram. He's real successful being an entrepreneur with the
Gotcha.
hotels, but his backbone is all accounting and CPA work. So I was like, I didn't know what to do with my career. And I said, you know what? That sounds like something good. I love numbers. This could be a good thing for me. But as you know, obviously that's a computer job. You're not in front of people much.
You're at a desk.
So it didn't fit my personality too much. So I ended up making this change once I got the opportunity in radio.
Love it, brother. Absolutely love it. I know 2013 was that moment for you that changed. I think 2015 you signed on full time with Mojo and 955.
Man, look at you. I
Well,
like this.
well, you know, we like to research our guests, but
course.
I think the story is telling in so many ways. And there's a lot. We'll talk about how you and I met, but there's a lot that I think back. 2015, you get that full-time gig. You really exploded onto the scene, man. Here's a young Chaldean personality coming onto the scene, working with the biggest morning show. It's probably still maybe today.
Yeah, I would think so.
With Mojo in the
Definitely.
morning. 2016 rolls around, 2017 rolls around. You're traveling the country. You're hosting concerts. You're behind the scenes at the studio, interviewing some of the top 10 artists in the country. You're emceeing some huge events, Campus Market, Martius. I think you're still doing some of that with some of the 4th of July
In front of
events.
thousands of people too.
What's going through your mind, man? You're young, you're Chaldean, you're making a name for yourself, you're going through the works. What was that? What was that like?
You know, one thing that God blessed me with was a gift to just make people feel happy and comfortable around me.
Yep.
So that's just one thing that, like, being around people, that's just always been something. And I was shy, like, up until that 2015, no, more so like 2011 when I started with my internship. That was like where I was just shy. Like, people talk to my brothers all the time. Oh, your brother did this and that. I seen him at this event. And then they're telling them the story of, yeah, you won't believe it. He was the shyest kid growing up. And I don't know what
And
it was. It
now-
was just a switch.
It's a switch that happened.
If someone jumped on your IG page right now,
Yeah, they would have
"There's
no clue."
You're in the streets dancing.
Yeah.
You're doing all kinds of things.
For sure. And it's just like, you know, that was just a part of my story where you just realize, like, that's a gift that God gave you that you got to use it. And I look back and just all these events and things, and I look through my phone all the time because I'm not doing too many events anymore. Slowed down ever since being a dad and married. But I just go through my phone. I'm like, man, some of these memories, unbelievable.
Yeah, I bet. Now to the flip side of that, I have a question. Young, popular, you're emceeing huge crowds for artists, for guests that you have on Mojo. You're getting up there on social. People know who you are now in our community. Any paying attention to the cynics, the doubters within your circle, outside of your circle, the comments on social media? Did you pay any attention to that? Did it not bother you? Did it bother you? Did it come from an area where you never thought it would come from? You know, anything of that nature?
I mean, definitely. I mean, the social media could get to you, but I always looked at it as you never want to have people too close to your circle, because in that industry, those are going to be the people that bring you down because they're trying to get opportunities that you're getting. But at the same time, you know, you can't worry about that, because if you're confident in yourself, nothing else could slow you down. When you're worrying about all that and bad comments, like, you just got to ignore that because it's going to take you down and mess with you mentally. Like, I believe in the whole mental health side of it big time, because that's just one thing that just could take you down so quickly. And I've seen it happen so many times.
That's where we're leading to, is that so you just blocked it out.
Big time.
It didn't even affect you. You didn't even notice it. You didn't go after certain people. You didn't say, hey, you were cool with me before, but when now I'm hot, no one wants to talk, or either they're talking bad about you, or who's this guy doing? Was it ever in inner circle?
I mean, you got to, like, throughout the career, when you're talking to people and you're doing all this, like, you just got to make sure that you're a good person.
Gotcha.
You got to give them no reason. It sucks because you do got to worry about other people, because a lot of that is really what defines you, unfortunately.
Man,
you know, the public perception.
You've certainly shown you're a good person. I love Dominic's question. I think he phrased it in the words of the cynics and the pundits, but, you know, we know it as the haters.
The haters.
And I think a lot of what you're saying is, look, you're going to have those sound bites. You're going to have people talk negative to you. I can use it as fuel, or I can use it. I could pay no attention to it. Certainly, you didn't pay no attention to it. Those aren't the people you're trying to prove right to. People you're trying to make believe in you are the people that already believed in you.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure.
I love that you said mental health too, man. We're gonna dip into that. I know you talked about your wife and your kid. We'll get into that as well. But that's absolutely right, because the perception, not even the perception, the reality is, here's this young man. He's living his dream. He's getting to meet these artists.
Yeah.
People are always going to criticize no matter what. And you know what they say about critics? The doers are doing, and the critics are the ones that aren't doing nothing, sitting on the sidelines doing shit.
Yeah.
Right?
I do the opposite. I'm a fuel guy. I'm like, you know,
like
not a David Goggins deep. I mean, I've talked to Bernard about that. Not that deep, but I use it as a sense of fuel. It's hard for me not to look at it. When I look at it, I get heartbroken, and then I say, okay. And then I take that and just put the energy towards, say, example for this or work or real estate and stuff like that. But
Especially your career. I mean, it's super competitive.
yeah,
You gotta have a social presence nowadays. It's not
100%.
just referral based. It's more so having an online presence.
Man, you've certainly been able to achieve that, which kind of segues me into my next question. You know, you and I have had lunch a few times. We've gotten to know each other. We've had some great conversations. And I think what my takeaways from it is you strike me someone that has an obsessive nature. And let me tell you what I mean by that. When you put your mind to something, you're obsessed about accomplishing that goal or getting to that next step. Is that a fair assessment of you?
I would think so.
You would think so, right?
Yeah. And you, as someone I look up to, saying that, I appreciate it.
Well. Thank you for saying that, because you've been able to make decisions based on putting you in a better position. You've become an entrepreneur. You've become someone that is trying to elevate their game. I think the mindset was, hey, I got this great personality. I'm on the radio. I got this great exposure. How can I elevate that to the next level and maybe do some things from a business standpoint? And you've been able to accomplish that. We're going to get into some of those.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You know, radio was kind of that stepping stool for me.
it's like a launch. Would you say it was like a launch?
It was a launch. You
Yeah.
know, like it was. The goal was really never to make that my whole long-term career.
Right.
It was more so in the beginning. I didn't know. You know, I started it. That was never a goal of mine. So as I was going, that's when all the new goals kind of just presented itself for me over time.
100%. Hey, I want to talk about something on a lighter note, because we did.
Y'all are both laughing.
We did.
What's
We
coming at me?
did. We did stalk your Insta page.
The chest hair. What you got?
Yeah,
That's exactly what
Man.
I got, dude.
Don't be jealous you can't grow a chest like that.
I was gonna ask, what captivates you about the trimmer? Let me tell you what I've seen, and tell me if I'm missing something. I've seen the Mankini. I've seen Stafford. I've seen Superman.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just check out his Instagram page.
Yeah.
Great
What's
stuff.
what's the mindset behind that?
I don't know. Just making people laugh.
Dude, it's
That's
mission
what it
accomplished.
started. That's what it started in the beginning. And
So Joey will go on, just for those of you that would need to know what I'm talking about. He'll trim a bikini with his chest hair. He'll trim the Superman logo with his chest hair. And you've done the most recent one was the Stafford 9 on the front, right?
yeah, that was an awesome one.
Super
too.
Bowl?
Yeah, that was Super Bowl time.
Super Bowl time.
He even messaged me about that one with his wife Kelly, and it was just fun, you know.
Yeah.
I got to shout out my barber Mac Daoud, by the way.
Mac Daoud?
Nice.
Unbelievable. Like literally, it's funny because he's like one of those celeb barbers nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive, big time. You can't even get new. Like I can't even shout him out to get new customers because he's so booked out.
Who put you onto him?
Jay Towers, actually.
Jay Towers.
Towers.
Fox
Gotcha.
2 Morning and
Gotcha.
100.3 WNIC radio host. But it was just funny because think about it. You're going to a barber. Well, maybe not so much you, but you're going to a barber. And all of a sudden, I'm getting there too, so I can't say much. But you're going to the barber, and then all of a sudden, you see your same barber taking those same trimmers to someone's chest.
Yeah.
Are you going to be disturbed by that or no?
Slightly.
A little bit. We'll have to put some of those pictures up on the feed as well.
But it's real talent.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, well, this guy's
Show the
dealing with.
Superman one. That one's real talent. The Stafford jersey, obviously.
The
is
Stafford jersey. Listen, I was looking at your beard for when he was doing. I was like, man, I should go see this guy. And then he's like, hold on 1 second, and then recline the chair. I was like, oh, what's happening here? And then the Stafford jersey came out, which was pretty awesome. Had a few good. You had me almost in tears last night when I was watching the sign off on Mojo. I was like, he's crying on there. He's not supposed to.
Yeah.
So the whole that's a good. Your Instagram feed is definitely entertaining, and it shows where
All
you've
over
been
the
and where
place.
you've come. Yeah, not it is, but it shows where you came from and how you built up and all the Christmas stuff that you did with Mojo and stuff like that. So it's pretty awesome to see all that stuff.
Thank you.
Want to ask you, we all have so much going on in our life. You started in the last 2 years, you started a couple businesses. You're off and running. You've also were married in the last 2 years. You have had a beautiful baby boy in the last year. You're focusing on the business. You have a personality. You have a brand to keep. What are you doing to stay sharp mentally? What's the mindset when things are maybe you're not in that great mood, or you need something to get you going? Anything mentally that keeps you going, that keeps you right-minded, that keeps you going through all of this?
I mean, praying is a huge one for me. You
Yeah.
know, just keeping your faith. That's one thing you kind of can't stay away from for me, because that's kind of like the one thing that keeps me online. But besides that is less time on the phone. If you look at my social media, a lot less activity compared to what it used to be, because like you said earlier, you know, the comments, the negativity on there is real. It
starts to get to you.
It gets to you, and you just start to realize, you know, when you have a family, like that's not the most important thing. The amount of likes you get on a post is not the most important thing. It's about really just you and making sure you're confident in yourself. That is really the one thing that I focused on. So that's when I realized, like, scaling back on social media could be a good thing for me.
Sure.
It's not when I'm in that moment with my kid, making sure I get it for Instagram. It's making sure I get it so it's a memory that I can show him years from now.
You're going to have it for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people are able to see it. People like seeing stuff like your family growing. We definitely like seeing it. We don't see each other every day.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that. So praying, has that always been in the wheelhouse?
Yeah, I mean, my mom, like people always say, like I'm very popular, but my mom was the OG of it all within the Chaldean community, because she was a communion teacher for many years.
That's awesome.
Did all the catechism, so yeah, she definitely raised me and my 3 older brothers in the church big time.
She did a fantastic job, man. I know for me, I think mentally, and Dom, I'd love for you to share as well. I know you and I have talked about it. You know,
definitely.
we're all building brands. We got a lot on our plate. We're starting to employ more people. So we listened to some of the things that you said in terms of, you know, having some critics, but you know, it's a run, it's a prayer, it's health and wellness for me to stay sharp. Got to stay focused, man, and tuning out a lot of that. But I know running is a good solace for me. It's a good refuge, especially getting in that workout. But prayers, we never skip those, man. Those are at the forefront. What about you, Dom?
I like to be alone during bad times. Prayer comes first. I like praying alone. I need moments alone. I talk about unwinding with a lot of people. I ask people, hey, so when you're done with work and you go home, let's just say the wife and kids aren't home, are you shower to bed? To me, I was like, I can't. I got to sit on a couch and kind of unwind what happened throughout the day in my head quietly and break down what happened. And it kind of sets me up for the next day, or else I feel overwhelmed from the night before. Prayer does, obviously exercise. That's where we're getting off to it, is if the venting for you of, I mean, dude, you're a busy guy. All in a matter of 2 years, marriage, multiple businesses, ventures, you got a kid. I had to ask the question, how do you put it all together? I'm not, obviously I'm not married, no kids, but business ventures, yeah, I had to see your side of it.
Sure.
You know, being Chaldean, how you hold it together. And I think prayer is probably that main anchor.
Yeah.
Joey, let's go back to that. So 8 years, Mojo in the morning. And I got to tell you, you left Mojo, I think it was October 24th, right?
2020.
2020.
Yep.
2 days later, you're on social media. You launch a new company. Woodward.
One day before I left, announced I just got engaged.
Yep.
Yeah.
Woodward Sports Network.
Yep.
By the way, all platforms, fantastic content for all things related to Detroit sports. We're talking on every platform. 2 days later, so obviously there was some time coming. What led up to that decision? I think we talked about you maybe want to do your own thing, but kind of bring us up to speed on that.
Yeah, you know, a lot of opportunities throughout my career that, you know, you just go through it and then you realize, you know, it's tough because when you're dealing with the politics of mainstream radio and a big conglomerate company like that, it's just tough because sometimes you think that there's opportunities that you should have received, but you didn't.
Right.
And not to say that I didn't work harder than anyone else, but, you know, it gives you that opportunity to where you're like, you know what? You feel confident enough in what you've done and created throughout your career that you want to give other people this opportunity. And I looked at the industry as a whole and seeing where terrestrial radio and mainstream TV and all that was going more towards that digital platform, to where everything is all social media these days.
Yeah.
So that's where we wanted to just go all digital.
Got it.
You know, just go straight towards social media because that's where everybody is on a daily basis. We're all checking our social media platforms probably 100, 200 times a day.
Yeah, a lot of pickups on the phone for sure.
Nonstop. So listen, I'm going to put you on the spot. I got a 2-part question for you. I'm going to ask it. You leave Mojo. He has a very, very heartfelt goodbye to you. You get on to Woodward Sports Network. First question. Do you feel like there was any, what was the feeling like with Mojo? Do you feel like that relationship is still there? And number 2, how's Woodward Sports doing today?
Yeah, I mean, the relationship with Mojo, like right when I left, obviously got a little bit shaky because at that point, like there was a lot of opportunities that he was giving me. But for me, I looked at it as I just got engaged. I want to get married soon. I want to have a kid soon. It wasn't enough for me to realize like this is going to be the best game plan for my career, my future, and my family. So just had the decision and ended up being back and forth. I almost didn't take this opportunity with with my best friend to do Woodward Sports because the fear kicked in. You know, my last job before radio was Subway.
Yeah.
I worked there for
Yeah.
3 years,
Yeah.
whipping up some of the best sandwiches.
You know, I was going to put that in my introduction. Former Subway sandwich
That's a
artist.
big one for me.
Sticks is your best
Stick,
friend?
yeah, Stick.
Sticks. Still great relationship with him. He's part of
Yes,
Woodward Sports.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's part of Woodward Sports as well.
Yep.
Good.
Yes, great relationship with him. But I mean, when you look at just the transition into Woodward Sports, you know, it's something completely new. Don't realize how hard it is to start a media broadcast company until you do it.
Of
Yep.
course.
All
of
the
course.
like, there's a crew right now with 4 of them right there looking at us with all the camera set up and the microphones. Like, there's a lot of work versus just radio, which is simply audio.
Yep.
When you're just doing audio, not to discredit any engineer throughout my radio career because they were all amazing, but when you add the video element, the lighting element, it's hard
The
stuff.
atmospheres, the guests,
Yes.
the mics, everything's mobile. I get that part. To bite off your question, in a little bit of a different direction, do you think the radio phase, similar to the cable phase, is slowly fading out? Something like Woodward Sports, something like our show here, is the new wave of how their things are going to do, or how things are going to be.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, even when you look at future production of vehicles, how much longer are they going to even put radios in vehicles?
I was saying that.
It's an
I was
added
saying that
cost.
last
So
week,
I
yeah.
don't know, but there's obviously the few staples still that are alive in radio. If you just try to start something new, I don't believe in that. You got
Gotcha.
to start it new on a digital platform, not on radio. But the Mojos, the Jay Towers, the Dave and Chuck the Freak, those are still icons in this city.
100%.
It's
Yeah,
more of a
for sure.
nostalgia thing for us. You know, it's
100%.
not 20-year-olds listening to it anymore. I'm 30 now. It's 30-year-olds and up because
listened
they
to it on the way
grew
to
up
work.
with it.
We listened
Man.
on the route to work. That was the only thing we had to listen to besides forcing an aux cord, trying to
Yep.
figure it out. But then, you know, Mojo was on every morning.
That's so good, Joey. I love that you said that. It's so nostalgic. You just saying those names, I'm like, yep.
Yep.
That's
sure.
That's so good, brother. That's so good. We talked Woodward Sports, so I wanna pick your brain. We're gonna do some predictions real quick. I know you love opening day. I know you love all the events you MC.
go.
I know you're a sports fanatic. What are your predictions for the Lions this year, man? There's so much hype. So and by
talk
the
to
way,
us
this
nicely.
is coming from a guy that has relationships with the players and some of the coaching staff and the media. What's the buzz about? What are your predictions for these guys, man? Because we're pumped. These guys
oh,
are pumped.
yeah,
They want to
there's-
know.
The buzz is real. That's
buzz
for
is
sure.
real, right?
We were at a golf outing with Feldman Automotive Group and
Children
Jay
Miracle
Feldman.
golf outing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mark Wahlberg is there, and
Great guy,
One of
yeah.
our female personalities is talking with him and asks him the same question, and he said, "NFC champs."
Wow.
I heard him
Not
say
division?
that. I heard him say that. NFC champs for sure.
And like, he's a big Boston Patriots fan.
Yeah.
And you look at someone of his caliber to say that. This ended up getting picked up by all the big broadcast
I seen it.
shows all across the country. And like, it's not just saying it. Like, this is like one where you feel different about. It's been all my life that I've been saying this exact same thing and feeling so confident in our team. But this one just feels different.
It does.
Talk to me in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I might backtrack that statement, but I still feel
Some
real
say
good.
otherwise. You see Barstool Sports saying, "Hey, the hype train is a hype train. I think you guys are boosting them too high. They're good, but they're not that good." And then you come to Michigan, and then you come to Detroit. Everyone's like, "No, they're that good."
Barstool, a bunch of haters though. That's what they're trying to get.
Yeah. They're trying to get. They're trying to
trying
get.
to get
they're
it.
trying to
They
get
do a
some
great
crazy-
job.
They do a great job.
They do a
Yeah,
great
they
job.
do.
But some haters out there.
Very true.
Joey, let me ask you. We were looking through some of. I keep mentioning we were looking through it, and one thing I was able to correlate was, you start Mojo in October, you leave Mojo in October, you start Woodward in October, you get married in October. Your son was born
In October.
Didn't know if you
You're
correlated all
October's
that,
very
or,
own.
or what
Wow.
that's significant, what that month has any significance to you besides what I just listed off.
Wow.
An
Isn't
OVO.
isn't there something?
Did
to
I
put the-
start in October?
Yeah.
I think early October,
That's
October
about
1st.
right.
And you left there in October as well.
And you started Woodward Sports in
did.
October.
Baby boy born in October.
I did.
Marriage in October. So OVO.
No, marriage was August.
Was it?
Was it? Or
Yeah.
engagement was October?
The
We don't want
marriage
to miss.
wasn't in October.
We don't want to miss this one.
Did I not research that correctly? My point is there
I
was a
reject
lot of
that question. I don't know.
That's okay. We'll come back to
Do we
it.
get the
It
life
sounds
online?
right.
It sounds right.
Actually, no, it had to have been because I proposed right, but yeah, so that was it.
That was it.
Yeah, because I left right before I did that right before I left radio.
Tianza.
Yes.
We'll delete that part. So,
Yeah. There's a lot of dates to remember.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of dates.
You want me to remember my kid's birthday, my birthday, my whole family's birthday,
Man,
and now all this stuff?
what's that been like, man? Fatherhood, marriage. You had Jax a year ago in October. Would
Yeah.
it be 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Married 2 years ago. It would be in October. Life-changing events. What's fatherhood been like? What's being a dad been like? What's being a husband been like?
Yeah, that's kind of been the hitting the gas pedal to this whole thing, because when you get married, that's one chapter of life to where you just realize it's getting real, and that's where I left radio, because all the things that I was doing, I felt like wasn't my true self. Being out in the club scene, I don't
Gotcha.
even drink. Being around a lot of people consuming too much alcohol,
You don't drink
not
at all?
really my scene. No, I don't.
Nothing.
At all.
When was the last time you had a drink?
Probably sipped a drink maybe at a wedding last summer.
Good for you,
But
man.
I was miserable
Good
doing
for
it.
you, man. Good for you,
That's something
man.
wrong.
Just never cared for
Never
it.
cared
Yeah.
for the drink.
Never
Good
cared
for
for
you,
the
man.
drink. Ask anybody. That's just never been my thing.
Yeah.
But it's just you realize like all these things in life just push you a little bit harder. But then when that kid comes, it's just a complete different mindset push to where you got to do every and anything to be able to set him up for success.
Yeah.
The morning wake up is a little different. The morning motivation is a lot different now.
It is.
Different meaning to it. I
Because
get
before that, like even when you're married too, it's like it doesn't really hit.
I can get by.
Yes.
Me and her can get by. We'll be fine. But now when there's a kid involved, there's an infant involved, you're responsible for a whole nother life.
Right.
So it's something different.
Wanting
That's
to change,
amazing.
wanting to change the structure to where the wife isn't working so much, so the wife could be the babysitter and raise the kid, puts a lot on the husband.
Spot
You know?
on, Dom.
Yeah.
Spot on. You
Yeah.
wake up a little bit differently. You're absolutely right. Do you remember how we met?
Yes. 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 The great. It is great.
It's a great story.
Let's break
Great
it down. What
story.
is it?
Yeah.
Joey was somebody I didn't know, but I followed, and I remember hearing his voice on 95.5, and I started following his Instagram, and he had wanted a pair of the Kobe Gremlins. He had been asking around if
Is it
anybody.
Gremlins or the Grinches?
The Grinch.
The Grinch. The Christmas, the green
Yeah,
ones.
the
Those are
Grinch.
amazing.
Thank you
by
for
the way.
correcting me. And I remember talking to my
Posted
wife.
something. I remember posting
He posted
something about
something.
it because there was a re-release or something, and this was around when Kobe passed, and
It was a re-release.
it was a re-release. It was
Yeah.
impossible to get a hold of him,
It was impossible to get hold of him. So I'm going to
except
use
for some people.
I'm going to use this as a segue to why what my mind was. I talked to my wife. I said, look at this. I said, look at this personality. I said, everything he posts on social media, he's humble. He shows gratitude towards everything. And I'm just going to touch on your charitable work, and then I'm going to get back to how we met. You've done Breaking and Entering. You've done Stuff a Bus. You've done the Mott's Children's Hospital. You've done work with Down syndrome. You're always posting and you're always helping. And yeah, the haters might say some of that comes with the gig, but you continued that after the gig, and you still continue that to this
Still
day.
pushing it through.
So I said, I'm gonna get this guy these Gremlins. The
Grinches.
Grinches. I'm sorry.
Grinches.
I'm gonna get Joey these Grinches. I'm gonna get the shoes for him. Let's somebody do something nice since he's always giving away the gifts. So you and I met at one of your burger joints that you
Yeah.
liked, and we ended up getting you those shoes. To me, it was like, hey man, let's pay it forward. Not that that's why you do it, but I wanted to do that. It felt good to get you those shoes. But talk about some of your charitable work, man. I
Yeah,
love
I wanna
that.
hear
I
that
love
stuff.
that's how we met. I know how thrilled you were.
Yeah.
You've done so much through the years, so much, and you continue to do so much, and it genuinely makes you happy. What's going on with that?
Before I say that, the wife is actually behind the scenes. That was another handbag you could have got right there. That's some real love.
They are expensive shoes and hard to get, especially for the re-release. Absolutely.
For sure. So I hope you don't hate me to this day. She's saying she doesn't. But now to add to it, I mean, you said a lot of the things that I'm a part of. I have my own charity, nonprofit organization called Motor City Movement. And that's pretty much empowering the
How's
youth
that
of
going?
Detroit, doing a
Nice.
lot of cool things. Since COVID, because we work with a lot of sick patients in the hospital, it's slowed down a lot, which I hate, but it's slowly starting to come back. And then another one is I'm an ambassador for Wish Upon a Teen, and that's an awesome organization.
What is that about? Wish
It's,
Upon a Teen?
pretty much like for kids that are in the hospital for a long time. You know, it's trying to make their rooms feel like home. You know, if
Gotcha.
they're there for a long time, some of them even missing holidays and, you know, missing school dances. So
Tough.
we do a really huge prom event where we call it Wish Upon a Prom. And it's just incredible, you know,
That's dope.
seeing the smile of these kids and being a dad now, it hits me even harder than it did when I was just doing it as a teenager in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Because I've been with them for quite a while now. But now you just look at it and it's just, that these kids have been through so much in their life. They deserve these cool opportunities. And just making them smile, putting a smile on their face and giving them cool opportunities to meet some local celebrities. They love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anything new popping up on the charity train?
I mean, Wish Upon a Teen has been a huge part for me right now, but
It's taking up most of your time.
it is. But it's been a weird time. It's been a really
Since
weird
after
time.
COVID?
Yes, because
Yeah.
a lot of it was, like I said, working with ill patients in the hospital.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Love it. And it really embodies who you are. It embodies everything that you stand for with everything we've talked about. I want to get into one more topic real quick, man. Print House,
Yeah.
Print House Detroit, PhD, something that you've launched.
Never could
That's
get my
good.
PhD the real way, so I just had to start up a company.
He
myself.
Is that
says,
the
"Hey, I
clothing
can't
line?"
get my
Yeah.
PhD.
That's awesome.
Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that. I saw a couple of samples, man. It looks fire. I can't wait to get a cap. I know you're sending Dominic and I one.
Yep.
We're excited to
Nice.
have that. Tell us
Absolutely.
about Print House Detroit.
So I've worked throughout, I'd say probably the last 6-7 years of my career working in this space and providing awesome embroidered items, promotional items, screen printing T-shirts, and pretty much anything when it comes to making you look good for your business.
Right.
And always been the guy that liked working with brands. So I did it as kind of an outsourced thing in the beginning to where I just had a friend that owned a shop and I would just bring a lot of people that I knew to him because I knew he did great work. But then in the last 2 years, kind of turned this into my own business and just it's awesome. When you see like I'm seeing our crew behind here got their own company shirts and you're proud to rep that. Everybody's just super proud to rep their own thing. And I
course.
like coming up with cool ideas. So
Nice.
Print House Detroit, that's what I'm in the process of rebranding it all to and really taking it serious and kicking it up a notch is pretty much going to be my own touch to it to where you work personally with business owners and get their visions and help those visions come to life because everybody could just get a t-shirt and throw a logo on it.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's about coming up with cool creative things to where, if you are a realtor, coming up with things that are different for that industry because how many times are you going and getting the same BS items,
A lot.
It's,
a
it's,
lot.
it's always the
a
same
lot.
things.
And it's the same bullshit items, like
It
you said.
is. It really is.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Very passionate. That's my passionate.
When can we
project that I'm
expect
working
to
on.
maybe jump online and be able to purchase some of those products? Is there a time frame?
I mean, you could do it now. I'm still operating as a business, but the whole rebrand for Print House Detroit, which isn't public yet, it's probably going to be, I'd say, about 40 days.
Gotcha.
Another
40, 50
40
days
days.
from now.
What else are you dabbling in? So Woodward Sports Podcast that's not considered a podcast, but it's considered a show.
Yeah.
A sports show.
Yeah, so that's a show.
You have the clothing line now coming out.
Yep.
What do we not know you're doing?
And then, I mean, like I said earlier, reference to my brothers being in the medical space, I wanted to dabble with the medical world because I have a lot of relationships and kind of was pointed in the direction of trying out the toxicology market. So I'm doing some urine drug screening sales.
Nice. I heard
as
mobiles,
well.
that the guys that do it mobile
Yep.
pick up and go to lab.
Absolutely.
Super lucrative.
Yeah, it's just, what it is? A lot of my things are not pandemic proof. So I wanted to be in a situation to where
You learned from that,
we
huh?
could drop advertisers if something happened tomorrow and people have to cut their budgets, and we're kind of in that weird funk right now. So I looked at the medical world as something that would be pandemic proof. No matter what happens, that business is still going to be all right.
A lot of
Love that.
entrepreneurs went that route after COVID, after 2020.
Big time.
Their next business thing is that to make sure that there's no way that they'll ever fail during in a certain pandemic, and they've geared their business models towards that because I guess a lot of them took a giant hit,
Yeah.
big giant hit on that, especially
Yeah.
in the city of Detroit for sure.
The days of just having one thing, it doesn't exist anymore either.
No,
It
no,
really
definitely.
doesn't.
It's you're absolutely right in saying that. Multifaceted, need to be engaged, multiple businesses, try out a few things. And look, truth be told, I think we've all done that, and we've learned from our failures. And if we need to revamp our strategy and try to do it again, that's what we're gonna do, man. We don't quit. You know how we're wired.
That's in the blood.
That's in the blood.
That's in the blood right there.
That's in the blood.
And going back to my past career in radio, I would never be able to be an entrepreneur and do all this other stuff because I was so busy.
Yeah.
Waking
Learn from
up
it.
3, 4 a.m.
Did the night shift?
Yeah,
You did the
did
night- that
shift,
night
going to
shift is
clubs on the
unreal,
weekends, waking
yeah.
up early every Saturday to do a charity event. It's just there was too much.
Man.
And I wouldn't be able to breathe and survive if I continued living that lifestyle.
You've done a complete a transformation, and by that I mean somebody out there, parties, concerts, MCs, touring the country
In that
and
lifestyle.
and that lifestyle, and now you're saying, hey, more entrepreneurial, more business mindset, more of how do I take myself, my brand to the next level, put myself and my family in a better situation.
Now I have responsibilities, wife and kid.
Exactly.
Now the motivation's tough.
Now life is real.
Love it.
It was all fun and games before
Love
that.
it. Before we sign off, what else do we need to know about you? Any siblings? Anybody want to
Shout outs, company shout outs.
I got to shout out one thing about Bernard.
Let's do it.
And-
I love
and-
this. This is my stuff.
And I don't want to say any disrespect towards the realtor that I dealt with, but it was a horrible situation. It's actually a family friend. I got nothing but love and respect for him. But throughout that whole process, I was dealing with my wife and getting our first home at the worst time 2-ish years ago, right? And Bernard at that time, I was talking to him and I wanted to work with him so bad, but he kept telling me, no, his family, work with him. Got to do that. But he gave me all the advice throughout that entire time. And that's something that doesn't go unnoticed because, as a realtor, you're doing it for yourself, but when you're dealing with these guys up here, it's more so just doing it because they're so passionate about it and they're going to find you the perfect spot. Because when I dealt with that, it was the worst situation of my life because I'm dealing with a realtor that I wasn't even seeing, sending other people there because it was just a side hustle for him. And then you got Bernard who knows he's not getting $1 off of this deal, but he's still helping me the entire way.
Coaching it through it.
Just shows you what an incredible guy he is. So I'll always love you for that.
Love
That's
you back,
awesome,
brother.
bro.
I appreciate
That's
you saying
awesome.
that, man. Appreciate you saying that means the world. And that's sometimes we need to do every time we need to do the right thing. But it was my pleasure to help you out on that. Before we let you go, Joey, what can we tell our listeners? How can they support you? How can they support your charities? Any hashtags you want to give us?
us
Any
some
websites
handles,
for the charities? Tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you or how they can support some of your foundations and maybe help the business as well.
Yeah, Joey Radio is my social media. Most active on Instagram. That's the best way to get a hold of me. And, really wanting to bring back all this charity.
Yeah.
Just been so busy doing everything else and with the family and the different businesses I've been working on. But that's definitely something that I want to bring back. And what I like about it too is just giving people that really don't do too much charitable work an opportunity. Because once you do it, it's one of those things I've never done any drugs, but I'm sure it's as addictive as a drug to where once you get a taste of it,
You're hooked.
it's over for you.
That's awesome.
When you go to a hospital and you decorate that room for a child and you see their reaction, you're going to be hooked to it.
Love it.
And it's really just an incredible thing to be able to support that.
Love what you're doing, man. And we wish you all the success moving forward. When we booked you, we were super excited to have you on the show.
Was it as good as you guys thought?
Oh man,
Absolutely.
always. I'm so
You gotta
glad- I'm
understand.
so-
For me, I think a little younger than you. So when you got on the radio and being from our community, I was like, hey, someone from our community made it into a
Yeah.
mainstream media thing.
Yeah.
We can do that.
And
We
I got to
can
shout
all-
out Chris Arafat first, Slim. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
the first to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him like, man, what's this guy doing? Looks so fun seeing it on Facebook at the time. Instagram wasn't even a thing probably.
Yeah.
And he was just doing his thing, having fun, did a show for the Middle Easterns called My Cousin's Radio Show.
actually,
Yeah.
And
funny.
I came and visited him one day. He gave me that opportunity because he was my brother growing up my whole life, really close friends with my oldest brother. And then I was like, man, this is awesome. I want to do this one day.
Love
you
the
did it.
story.
And
Love
then-
the story.
then-
You did it,
then a
brother.
little
And you did it
while
at a
after
high
that-
level. You did it at a high level,
Thank you.
man. You brought the energy. You did it at a high level. And you're right, man. Shout out to Slim was really the pioneer for the Chaldean community.
Big time.
As far as radio personality.
I think you took it to another level. Like I said, for my generation, it was you.
You remember Joey?
Yeah, I do.
Everybody remembers Joey.
I hear him on the radio, and then that's our guy. We have a guy in this industry. That's our people.
Yeah,
So
you made us proud. You're on the
I'm
Chaldean News. You're on the cover of that with Mojo. I remember that.
so happy that
Yeah.
we did this
That was
interview with you,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
My
It
whole
was really
career,
dope.
I did things with some of the biggest names in the market, in the industry. All people cared about in my whole family was this Chaldean News. Got it framed in their houses.
That's
I'm
awesome.
glad I
Probably seen
mentioned
by
it.
a couple hundred people only.
I'm glad it's all right. I'm glad I mentioned
Thousands
it, man.
now, actually. What am I saying?
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you
thank
for
you.
coming
Thank
on.
you guys.
Thank you
Making
for
the
sharing
time,
your
man.
story.
By far the best setup, by the way, I've seen.
Thank you.
For a
Well,
podcast.
speaking of that, big shout out to MI Homes. We're at their Power
Yes.
Ridge community. They got an Autumn Park community. Also want to send a shout out to JM Visuals, the man behind the lens, who's doing all the videography
Thanks, Josh.
And the audio. Great work on that, Josh. Joey, We wish you nothing but success. We know we are so excited to see where you get to the next level. Thank you for having us. To our listeners, if you like what you saw today, please make sure to give us a like. Please make sure to share it to your friends and family. Keep pushing. Stay blessed. God bless. We're out.